Don't discount that Big E baseball series between the Braves and the Nationals. I know it's early. I mean, one team could sweep another. But you know something? I mean, I'm looking at the National League Central race, and seemed like it was just yesterday that the Pirates were leading it. Hey, this is a surprise team in the National League Central Division. And now it looks like the Milwaukee Brewers are running away with that division. Best record in the National League. Yeah, the Milwaukee Brewers, best record in the National League. I really am living in the past where I think that Milwaukee Brewers and National League sounds funny, but regardless, I am not that out of it. Who am I? I'm Marky Billson, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-Cities sports fans. The name of the program is Tri-Cities Sports Now, and we own the Tri-Cities on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities. Listeners to the network programming know that on Saturday there is, usually about 5 p.m., a soccer program that NBC Sports Radio broadcasts. And everywhere I go, when I talk to a younger person, what I get is, hey, what are your favorite sports? Soccer. And, you know, for years, I mean, for 50 years, soccer is going to take over in the United States. I don't know if it will take over, but I think that its popularity is much greater. And I mean, I'm a guy who remembers when Pele signed with the New York Cosmos, for crying out loud. But I think that in the modern generation, and I've said this, you know this about a soccer game. It's going to be over in 2 hours. It's rigidly timed, so it's faster paced. You also know, in most cases, the game is going to be close. I mean, we all joke about, another 0-0 tie in soccer. A 1-0 game, a 2-0 game. That means that the outcome is always in doubt, much like the games of the Stanley Cup playoffs have always been in doubt. But meanwhile, while we hear grand, reports about the 4th straight Warriors-Cavaliers Championship Series. And I guess it's NBA Finals. I don't call it Championship Series, but, really living the baseball thing right there. You've got a circumstance where, the games have not been competitive. Series has gone 7 games in both the semifinals, I will give you that. But it's the same old, same old. Again, you're not getting that. Anyway, why I mentioned this is I'm going to be talking to John Hooper. We know him as, SoCon John Hooper, but he's a big soccer buff. So I want him, and he watches the show religiously, and I want him on the air to talk a little bit about Real Madrid and their coach stepping down. Because I understand the popularity of the sport. I understand how, we have a minor league team, the Otters. I'm beginning to believe it's a real good thing. Soccer, along with men's tennis, is what helped ETSU win the the Commissioner's Cup Championship, which I think is a meaningless award. But that's it's an overall sports award. And in it, you can actually throw away the lack of success the football program at ETSU had, and instead replace it with the success of, say, tennis and soccer. Say what you will. Johnny Sutherland, real standout keeper for the ETSU Bucks. Well, I don't know if he's going to be playing for Real Madrid. I doubt it. But Real Madrid is the second most popular team in the world, behind Manchester United. Don't agree with me? So, hey, what about the Yankees? What about the Dallas Cowboys? I want to say the Yankees or the Dallas Cowboys are the most popular teams in the world. I really do, because I'm an American and they play American sports. And yes, I do want America to set the culture of the globe, as it so often has. But I just got to go by the Facebook likes. Check them out. And you'll see Real Madrid, and especially Manchester United, dwarfing the Facebook likes of the Yankees and the Cowboys. I'm talking 5, 9 times the amount of followers on Facebook. Oh, that's just Facebook. Okay, I understand. Yeah, that's a perception. But you don't think that there's something to those numbers? Might be not be the end-all, be-all, but I do kind of agree with it. I do think it's very intriguing. Yeah, maybe the Los Angeles Lakers, who have the most Facebook likes of any North American major sports franchise, 21 million and change. Maybe the Lakers aren't as popular as the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Yankees or the Montreal Canadiens or whoever, the Steelers, the Cardinals, St. Louis, obviously. But I'll just say this. The Lakers would be a candidate for most popular sports franchise in America, and maybe it says something about the social media marketing of the NBA being pretty good. Does that make it the sport of the future? Well, I don't know. Because I've got also some feelings that there's a big negative Q rating surrounding the NBA as their finals begin tonight. And I've talked about this time and time again. You know, last week, Commissioner Adam Silver, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, he addressed the masses at the Sports Business Awards, which I believe is put out by Sports Business Daily, which is kind of what Street and Smith have morphed into. And it's kind of the Wall Street Journal of the sports world. And for the most part, I agree with Adam Silver when he says, and he told the masses assembled at the Sports Business Awards, not to stick to sports. And you know what? I do agree. I don't stick to sports so much on this show. I don't just talk about bats and balls and I do talk about sports and the advancement of the culture that they provide. Basically, I think sports are a bigger barometer of the culture than movies, than music. Yeah, I do. I really do. I see where a team can bring together an entire community. TV show, spotty. Roseanne is taken off the air. I don't know if there are any millennials who care. I really don't. I didn't watch Roseanne when it was on the first time. We had Married with Children. Hey, I'm a guy. I'm going to associate with Al Bundy, not Roseanne Barr or whatever her character was named. Anyway, so Adam Silver told the masses, Sports Business Awards, don't stick to sports. And I agree with him, really. Don't let anyone tell you sports and politics shouldn't mix, because they always have. In fact, I disagree with Silver's statement that I think there's never been a time when sports has been more impactful on society than it is today. No, I really disagree with that. Jackie Robinson may have done more to bring the races together, if you will, than anybody this side of Martin Luther King Jr. It is really hard to believe, but there once was a time where there was a public sentiment that people thought Native Americans were some sort of savages. I mean, it's hard to kind of... But Jim Thorpe really changed that mindset 100 years ago. And he did so in many ways by beating Dwight Eisenhower's Army football team, circa 1912 or so, for the Carlisle Indians, yeah. Now, let me tell you how much sports and politics really do mix. And I've mentioned this before, but 2 of the last 3 presidents, Donald Trump and George W. Bush, own professional sports franchises. The New Jersey Generals of the United States Football League and the Texas Rangers of Major League Baseball, respectively. In fact, Trump tried to buy the Buffalo Bills, and I often think that if he was successful in that ownership bid, I wonder if he'd be president right now. But that's neither here nor there. George H.W. Bush was the captain of the Yale baseball team that played in the 1948 World Series. Gerald Ford and Ronald Reagan both played college football. Barack Obama, he's a basketball fanatic. Jimmy Carter served as Willie Stargell's valet after the 1979 World Series, pulled the slugger to the podium following the seventh game in a locker room at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. As Stargell learned on national TV, he'd just been named the Fall Classic's most valuable player. That's how big, that's how big Stargell was at the time. It's hard to forget that. It's kind of been forgotten, but for a moment, the president was Stargell's valet, Warren Harding, let's talk history. Bet on Washington Senators games. Teddy Roosevelt actively sought for football to become safer. And a lot of people think that that's how the forward pass came about. Called in the powers that be in 1905. Look, we're having, a dozen and a half fatalities a year playing this game. And I'm a big football fan. This can't continue. Did that in 1905. 1906, the forward pass comes about. You tell me. All right, let's look at the other way. Jack Kemp won championships American Football League as a quarterback, most notably for the Buffalo Bills. Ran for vice president in 1996 after serving the country as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Athletes from Steve Largent to Jim Bunning, not Jim Bunny. Jim Bunning, he of the perfect game in 1964. Ed Bailey, down in Knoxville, became prominent politicians. Kane, the professional wrestler, is currently running to become the mayor of Knox County. And there was J.C. Watts, former Oklahoma quarterback, who was quite prominent in political shows and so on and so forth. I mentioned when we've had Stan Pamphilis on the show, I joke with him, I said, you're the guy that drove J.D. Hayworth into politics. J.D. Hayworth used to be a sportscaster in Greenville, South Carolina, later went to Congress out of Arizona. Okay, so, they've always mixed. But what concerns me about Silver's statement is not to use sports to build bridges and bring people together. I kind of debate that. Because I wonder if sports is the best method to bring people together. I know I just said a community comes together around its sports team, and it does. That's one side of it. But I look also at the other side. So, there's that. But there's also the fact that competition doesn't necessarily breed goodwill between opponents. So bringing people together, but you get the gist of it. I'm also reminded by John Hooper, who's on Facebook right now. Don't forget Heath Shuler. How could I forget Heath Shuler? Yeah, right. Was in Congress, was one of the more prominent Democrats, and of course, famous Tennessee Volunteers quarterback, basically the primary quarterback of the Vols before, Jerry Colquitt, obviously, but really Peyton Manning. Anyway, what bothers me is the sports and politics mix has become so one-sided, especially in Silver's NBA. Now, at one time, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell could be combatants on the court, polar opposites politically, but still good friends. They shared holiday suppers together. Could you see Rush Limbaugh, once Paul Westphal's guest at the NBA Finals, be welcomed by the association today? I couldn't. I agree that an athlete or a league that merely sticks to sports is short-sighted. Frankly, I think it's un-American. But the problem now is that the other side is just not given in today's day and age. Let's take the NBA. I pick on it all the time, but it's because of this. I don't think it has become so political that I'm not going to watch the NBA Finals. And the reason why is that I don't feel comfortable doing so because they have sectioned me out of it. They have made it unwelcome to conservatives. The daily rantings of Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr against Donald Trump. The president is appointed, according to LeBron James. But this is a league that 20 years ago found the nickname Bullets. Offensive. Washington Bullets. Yeah. Can't have that. That's counterproductive. Or it was something. Now, if you're a gun owner, millions of people in this country are, how do you relate to the NBA when they say bullets are a bad thing? The building bridges to bring people together, it's not achieved when hate is found in Washington Bullets or team nicknames, the Redskins, the North Dakota Sioux, what have you, logos. Teams nicknamed the Warriors. I mean, really, we have the Golden State Warriors now. Why does Marquette need to change their name from the Warriors? Why does Syracuse have to go from the Orange Men? And yes, I do remember the old Syracuse logo where they had, a Native American with a tomahawk, sort of in a crouch and all that, and all this. But you know what? That was a better logo than just some weird orange. It was usually referred to as the worst logo in all of sports. And now they're the Syracuse Orange. Not oranges. Could almost go with oranges, and all this. And we all know that there's so much citrus in Syracuse, but orange mint, why is that, an orange mint? Why couldn't a Tennessee Volunteer be an orangeman? I mean, when you think about it, why couldn't it be someone who likes orange clothes? Which obviously the Syracuse sports teams wear. So like I said, building bridges to bring people together, it's not achieved when hate is found in team nicknames and logos. I mean, what is the final goal of this? An authoritarian state that at best is clearly not American. Freedom to choose. No. We're telling you that Orangemen is offensive. I mean, really? You're taking this in a way that, we're telling you that bullets, that should be bad. Huh? Tell that to the people who go skeet shooting or something. I mean, how? Look, as poor of a rule as the National Football League came up with for a national anthem policy, one that likely will cause division among teammates, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers endured last year when Alejandro Villanueva decided he'd stand outside for the national anthem while his teammates stayed inside, as response to Donald Trump using the term son of a bit, son of SOB. I think I can say that on the air, and I didn't complete what I just said, but yeah, you get the idea here. But he said, and people took offense. You know what he said. I really don't understand why, because NFL players get routinely shouted at far worse things than SOB. I call the ETSU football team the SOBs. Same old Bucks. A lot. But you know what? As bad as that rule is going to be, at least the NFL was trying to appease both sides of the political spectrum. Look, you want to make your statement, that's fine. Do so by staying in the locker room. We're allowing you that option. The NBA doesn't even do that. So stick to sports? No, I don't buy that. I agree with Adam Silver there. Sticking to sports is actually demeaning to the human spirit and mind. But that's not the issue. The issue is only half the message is currently being presented to the masses. I'm Marky Billson, and I'll tell you another example of that, and then at the half hour, it's not like we live in a past here. Real Madrid has let go of they haven't let go. Their coach has resigned after 3 straight championships, and so I'm calling up SoCon John Hooper, and let's get the skinny on this. He knows soccer, and you will too. It's only the biggest sports story of the day. Love to say it would have been the Capitals tying up the Stanley Cup playoffs, Holtby making that great save. NBA, yeah. American sport. I'd like that to be the biggest story worldwide, but it's not. Real Madrid's coach is quitting. He'll let us know what it's all about in about 10 minutes. Tri-City Sports Now.